Hello everybody, this is Maurice Manhattan from moldmanuscript.com, and I want to teach you how to remove mold without getting the rest of those spores all over your house and in your home. So the first thing you're going to need to understand is what you're going to need to get this all done. And mold remediation project is not a very difficult project. Although it is very expensive, there is possibilities that you can learn and tweak it so you can do it yourself. I always recommend professional help, but if you want to learn from such as my mold remediation courses, this can be done very simply, and you're going to learn how in this quick video. So the first thing you're going to want to look at is having visqueen. And visqueen is basically a very thick plastic which you can use to contain the area as well as dispose of some of the contents, which you're going to do in a little bit of the demo area when I get into that next step. You can also use blue tape. This keeps the containment area cleaned, and also you're going to need that to seal up some visqueen bags, which I'll go into a little bit later. You're probably going to need a drywall cutter and some sander or sandpaper. I don't recommend using an electric saw, which I'll get into later. Some protective gear, of course. You always want to protect yourself from mold, which is a NIOSH 95 mask, a rubber gloves, and some protective eyewear. And if you feel like, you could even go a little bit further and get yourself the whole gear where you can buy yourself a little protective suit, which is not that expensive. The ones actually that you see with the Intel guys, it's like a white suit that covers you from head to toe. That's also recommended but not mandatory. And finally, an air HEPA filter, which is optional, and that basically is a filtration device which will, after you're done demoing the area or removing, let's say, a small area of the wall and there's some dust in the room, this HEPA filtration system, if there's any spores, this will suck into the filtration system and collect them. And last, you're going to need some garbage bags. So the first thing you want to do is assess the area, right? You have all your equipment. Let's see the area and how far does this problem stem from, and you want to develop a plan, procedures and protocols. Now don't get too concerned. Procedures and protocols are basically a step-by-step process of how far you're going to remove and if you're going to remove walls for that matter at all. It's not very difficult. It's just basically you want to set up an idea of how much remediation you want to go and get involved with. So the first thing you want to look at is how far does this problem stem from. You can do this by looking at, let's say, a bathroom area, for example. You want to see if there's any water stains on the baseboard. If there was let's say, a bathroom leak in the sink, that water has migrated onto the floor somehow. How far has it gone, let's say? Has it gone to the baseboards on the flooring? And if it has it gone behind the baseboards where it's now up the drywall? And how far has it gone up? How high from the flooring does this water stain or possible mold growth go from the floor? So this is how you assess the area. So what you want to do is you're going to want to see how bad the water damage is. If there's water damage or mold growth on maybe the sink cabinetry, that might be an item you're going to want to remove. And this is certain steps of the process. This is just the first area, how to assess the area. I go further into it in my mold remediation course, which I'll give to you later on. But this is basically a quick inspection of the area. Very important. After you do that, you want to contain the area. So now you have an idea of what the work is going to involve. Remember that visqueen? Now we're going to use it. The visqueen, basically, if you remember that movie, E.T., where there was all these plastic areas that were sealed up, and they were transporting ET through them. That's kind of what a remediation project will look like. I've actually been in many remediation projects, some of the larger ones, such in hospitals, and they actually, to have people walk through the hallways, on one side of the hallway, they would have a containment area, and then on the other side, they would have actually a tube connecting to the other side containment area. And that way, the air was always circulated, and something we get into further with negative air, which you don't need to know about now. But that's something that you do. You want to contain the area. So how do you do this? Real simple. Take the visqueen, put it up on the wall. Let's say we're in the bathroom again. You want to take that visqueen and seal up all the area from the outside room. So if you have a problem, let's say in the sink and it was leaking, use the visqueen to cover up the doors, and then blue tape that from the ceiling to the floor so nothing can liberate into the air. You really want to contain the area. Also, a really important tip, that blue tape, if you have any AC vents, use it to seal up the AC vents. And this is because any spores that liberate can go into the AC system, and then it goes through your whole AC handler, and what you have then is a problem that not only started in your bathroom, that can also be liberated into the entire house because now mold's inside your AC handler. So it's important, seal up the AC vents, as well as use a visqueen to contain the area. Very important. So once you contain the area, you're going to go ahead and start the demolition. Now, this is so important. Always check to make sure the electric is off and watch your plumbing, because one small cut can and will damage either your house or you very badly. So with that said, be careful. And now let's go ahead and look. Let's say we're going to need a drywall cutter, not electric saw, because the electric saw, you can seep right through the plumbing if you're not careful. Electric cutter, you're going to have to, at least when you feel something that's preventing you from cutting, it's either going to be a plumbing pipe or maybe a furring strip inside that wall or something you don't want to cut necessarily. So what you want to do is you're going to cut out any water damaged materials or mold materials. So you're going to visually inspect. Is there water damaged materials on the drywall, that floor in the bathroom, let's say? You're going to have to remove that, or you're going to have to use some organic product possibly to clean and prevent the mold. Okay, now this is important. This is a judgment call. I get more further how to do this in my mold inspection course, but this is a judgment call on your part to see really how far the water damage has gone. And by knowing how far it's gone, that's where you make a decision how much you cut. There's different situations, many different situations. I have protocols for different rooms, ceilings, furring strips, etc. that you can follow in my mold remediation course. But basically, they all follow the same protocols, and that involves basically you viewing the area, seeing how much water damage or visible mold is on the surface of the material, and then remove that material and to a certain extent so it's past the visible point of the moisture. And when you do this, you're going to open up the wall most likely, and then you're going to see some more things inside that wall. And there's a few protocols which you want to follow in there, but basically you want to make sure all this mold is gotten rid of. You got rid of all this mold, so it doesn't, when you seal it back up, it doesn't cause a problem in the future. So after you cut and remove all the bad material that has moisture stains or any mold amplification on it, you're going to want to go ahead and dispose these materials. And the proper way to dispose them is you get that heavy-duty garbage bag, and you put the materials in that garbage bag, and then you take the visqueen and actually double bag it with the visqueen, seal it up with the blue tape at the top, and you take that material and dump it outside into a dumpster, and that's how you dispose of the materials. Once you're done disposing all the materials, you're most likely going to have some dust. You want to clean the area with and make sure all that stuff is removed. And you can also clean the walls and also the surfaces. So if you're in the bathroom, there might have been some mold spores. So what you want to do is, there's a soap from propertyinfections.net, which is Pincrobial, and they have a mold cleaning soap as well, and it's called Pincrobial. And you can use that. It's an antimicrobial soap that will clean the surfaces. You want to clean the surface of the area, such as the walls themselves. And then optional is the HEPA filter, what we were talking about in our equipment area. And this HEPA filter basically will suck in the spores, keep them in that filter, blow out any air that is not spores, and you're going to continually circulate that air for about 24 to 48 hours after you're done working in that area. Remember, it's still contained the area, so you just want to filter it and make sure it's cleaned. And once you're basically done doing that, you want to review the area, inspect it, make sure all is contained and cleaned. And review I have a mold remediation course at moldmanuscript.com that gives you exact protocols for each room. Very important stuff. And also you can review the mold inspection course, which I'll be giving away for free as well. So that's at moldmanuscript.com. But the most important part is you want to review all the protocols and procedures, make sure everything's clean before you seal everything back up. Because what's going to happen is a lot of the people will actually remove it, do everything perfect. They'll remove the drywall, but what happens is about a week or two later they seal it up, but they didn't really take care of what's going on inside the wall cavity, such as the furring strips. There might be mold growing on there. So be sure you follow the protocols. Moldmanuscript.com will definitely help you out with that. And to make sure all is correct, check out moldmanuscript.com. I have more information. I want to give you more of these additional courses. I have a course that actually talks about how to find mold at its source. It's an inspector course because you probably see the mold problem. But what I teach and what I train mold inspectors as well as mold remediation companies all around the United States is how to find the source of the problem, because we really need to fix that source of the problem. And I have a whole step-by-step process that also has protocols for each room. So when you go into a home, you know exactly where to look based on a room, if there's an AC in it, if you're in a garage, if you're in the bathroom, and what all the major sources of problems that stem from creating mold. So that's really important. And also I have a remediation course that would probably supplement this very well, and it'll help you discover which rooms to look at, how to remove, how much should you remove drywall material or any other ceiling material, and exact protocols for each room again. So this is Maurice Manhattan. I hope you enjoyed this course. For more information, visit moldmanuscript.com, and I'll go ahead and give you some of these more free materials. I hope you'd enjoyed it, and good luck with your mold problem. Hey, this is Maurice Manhattan again. I set up a free course where you can go and download my mold inspection course as well as my mold remediation course entirely free. I want to help you with your mold problem, and you'll understand why when you go there. You'll see a story of where I learned a lot of these topics and strategies, but also more importantly who I learned them from and why I'm trying to spread out the word and make sure you understand how to do this correctly. It's a really interesting story. I hope you enjoy it. Visit moldmanuscript.com. Best of wishes to you.